I'm Andrea Rosen. I'm the curator of the Fleming Museum, and I'm here with Associate Professor of Printmaking and Drawing, Mildred Beltré. And we're talking about recent acquisitions we've made for the Fleming, and we're talking about Takuji Hamanaka's Deflection. Mildred, how is this print made?
So something that really drew me to Takuji's work is the way that he's taking traditional Japanese woodcut methods and improvising on them, both through, I guess mostly through his use of collage. So he's taken this really traditional, and let me back up and say, Japanese woodblock is a method where watercolors are applied on a carved or uncarved block and then printed by hand. And there's a technique that is particular to traditional Japanese woodcuts, which is called a bokashi, which is like this fade that happens where, and you can see it in here, where it's sort of the artist applies the color in such a way that it goes from light to dark. And what has happened in this print is that he has taken that technique and printed sheets, with that bokashi, and then collaged it, cut those pieces up and collaged it to create this sort of, like gem-like, reflective, geometric form that, and so the piece I feel like has a sense of depth, a sense of sparkle, a lot of movement to it. And as a printmaking teacher, I also like to think about what are different uses for the multiple, right? So printmaking is a process where you can produce multiples of your work. That's what printmaking has done forever. And I think that's one of the advantages of that, or one of the things that I like about printmaking, is that printmaking is a medium that can exist in several places at the same time and sort of like spark conversation broadly. And that, that has sort of like political implications, it has commercial implications. But I'm also interested in what are other uses of the multiple. So I feel like this print sort of employs the multiple to create one unique piece. Mm-hmm. And so it sort of turns that idea of the multiple while still very much engaging it.
Yeah. It's one thing about making acquisitions mostly based on digital images, and also having experts like you who've seen his work in person, because once it arrived and seeing that you can really see the collage, you can see the cut paper, you can see the layering, in a digital image it looks totally smooth. Mm-hmm. So that dimensionality and realizing that even though it's a print, it's one of a kind, because how could you create a multiple out of this without, incredibly meticulous approach. Was there something you wanted students or the UVM community to get out of seeing this one?
It was about that idea of like, what are other ways to engage the multiple? Mm-hmm.